world. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on what time you're watching this. I'm Chris Corrado with another episode of Rock Hill Video. We're also doing Facebook Live right now, so we do have some live viewers. Basically, what we're going to do is I have two comedian friends of mine on here today. They're also veterans, so we're going to talk about comedy. We're going to talk about military life, and then we're going to have a friendly, educational, polite conversation debate on politics and the issues. As I always like to say at the beginning of my show is when I bring my guests on, whether it's one person or multiple people, everyone here gets a fair opportunity to talk about the issues, share their thoughts and feelings on politics, etc. I don't bring anybody on here to bash them. I don't bring anybody on here to praise them. If I'm agreeing with somebody, they're not going to get extra time. If I don't agree with you, we're not going to bash you. Nobody's getting ganged up on. This is a code of ethics I have as somebody who did study journalism many years ago at Winthrop University in Rock Hill. So, to start things off, we're going to talk about comedy. So, we got Tim Wright to my left. Tim, how long have you been doing comedy?
July this year will be 10 years.
Awesome. And then to my right, we have David Kiker the third.
Yep.
And how long have you been doing comedy for?
About 2 years, but it's hard to count the second year because of COVID, and then I did improv for a year and a half as well.
Okay. Tim, why did you decide to get into comedy?
I did an open mic down in Myrtle Beach in July 2010, and somebody said that I should keep doing comedy. I got a mentor that helped me out by the name of Todd Yarn, and he kind of took me up under his wing and helped me out. And it just took flight from there.
Awesome. What about you, David?
I do IT for a living, and I needed help with public speaking. Whenever I get excited, my whole body starts like, I don't know, jiggling because it seems like I'm real nervous. It happens anytime I get excited, whereas when I am nervous, I get really calm. It's a really weird feeling. So I started doing comedy to help with that, and then I took the class at the Comedy Zone, and Tim was actually one of my teachers.
And David's actually good, by the way. Well,
Awesome. So when it comes to comedy, everyone has different types of material. We've seen everything that can be very clean, like, say, Jerry Seinfeld. And then I remember one of my favorites is back in the day in the 80s, Eddie Murphy's Raw. So, Tim, what would you say your comedy's like? You have to describe your style.
Oh, man. I guess because of the way I move around on stage and the way I talk. I did have somebody tell me I remind them of a white Cat Williams. So I guess I'd have to go with what that customer said.
Gotcha. What about you, David?
I'm not really sure like what style I have, but I mainly joke about the way I had a rough upbringing. You know, lots of interesting things between addicts, crazy family members, getting tossed around house to house. You know, while I do have great family members, they don't get enough credit. They're not as funny.
Okay. And then, you know, we do have a pretty big scene in the Charlotte area. I know all three of us do comedy in this area, and some of us have even had a chance to hit the road. So, Tim, what adventures have you had? Where have you been to do comedy outside of this area?
Oh, God, all over the East Coast.
Okay.
The furthest I've been is New York and all the way down to Fort Myers, Florida, and everywhere in between.
You've also been on Comedy Central, right?
No.
Oh, you had a show or something? Okay.
No.
Not yet, right?
If I've been on Comedy Central, I'd get paid a lot more than I'm getting paid.
David, I know you've been doing comedy a couple of years now. Have you gone outside of this area at all?
Yeah, I went down to Atlanta once. I was supposed to go up to New York. I was booked for an actual gig, and it was 2 weeks after the COVID hit, so that got canceled.
Okay. Well, soon enough, right?
Yep.
Back on the road. Okay. So, we've all had best sets or worst sets. You know, there's been times where we've crushed it. There's been times where we've bombed. So, Tim, why don't you share with us some of your best moments and worst moments in comedy?
I'd have to say my best moment. I've told a lot of my students this. I think David knows this because I also teach the comedy class with Joel Pace. After a set one night, I had a lady come up to me and she was like, I am so glad I came and watched your show. I lost my husband 2 weeks ago and I really needed to laugh. And I don't think anything tops that when you're doing comedy. Because, I mean, that's why we do it. And I think my worst experience They say that we all gonna bomb. It's not when you bomb or if you bomb, you gonna do it. I was on stage one night, I believe I was in Georgia, and my 30-minute set took 20 minutes. I did every joke, I didn't miss one, but me and that crowd just didn't get along at all. I was rushing through the jokes, I was talking fast, all my brain wanted to do was get off the stage. And then I went back the next night and killed it. So I mean, I just didn't click with that one crowd. But that crushed me, boy. Man, my feelings were hurt. But it happens.
David, what about you? Best and worst situations, experiences?
I don't know. I always say my best set actually wasn't even a comedy gig. My best set was actually a speech that I gave at my sister Lauren's wedding. I wrote it the night before. I hit all my, jokes. I had paused for all the laughs. Everyone in there, loved everything. Everything landed. It was amazing. And then it got to be part of my sister's wedding, which made it a bigger deal. And for my worst, it was an open mic one night. Everybody's doing some fun, risque jokes, so I decided to go for some of the darker jokes that I had written. And as soon as I get up there, a family with 2 small kids walks in. And my entire mind goes blank. I remembered one joke, and I just had to get off the stage. It was just embarrassing. Okay. It taught me, make sure you're not too stuck on what you're going to say. Be a little more versatile.
Okay, great advice. Before we go to the next segment, is there anything else that, Tim, you wanted to mention about comedy? Any advice or how people could see you perform? Or
if we ever get out of this COVID thing, I mean, God, yeah, we're going to be at the Comedy Zone when the classes start back up. If anybody wants to take classes, if they go to CLTComedyZone.com, the classes are on there. You can sign up and take the class. You'll be better than Chris, but I mean, you might not be better than David, but you'll be better than Chris. I mean, at least that'll give you a stepping stone.
Well, just taking the first day would be better than this. You just got to show up. David, what about you? Any things you want to share about comedy before we go to the next segment?
The only thing I have to do is just plug the Charlotte Comedy Theater as well for improv and everything else. They're doing a lot of online things right now with COVID, so it's kind of nice to get a little bit more support for them.
Great.
Yeah, they do. They do good things. They really do. That's a good place to go to.
Our next segment is about the military. Both of you men have served in our great military, so thank you very much for your service. So I thought we'd just talk about that a little bit. So, Tim, what branch did you serve in?
The Marine Corps.
Okay. David?
I was in the United States Navy.
Okay. And Tim, why did you decide to become a Marine?
I guess, it's the stereotype. You're going to be the few and the proud, if you want to put it that way. I guess that's what pushed me toward the Marines.
David, why did you decide to join the Navy?
I moved out when I was 16, and by the time I graduated, I was between family members, staying in abandoned houses and things like that. My aunt was a Navy recruiter, so I decided to ask her if I could stay with her, get in shape, and if she could help me get in, and she agreed.
Okay. Now, there's the branches of the military. I know you guys will make your jokes about each other, and there's different things that if you go to one that you may not experience in another. So, Tim, what would you say differentiates the Marines from the other branches?
Well, I mean, we don't have ships like the Navy, so I mean that's a difference.
Okay.
But I mean, we joke with each other. David can talk trash to me about the Marine Corps. I can talk trash to him about the Navy. But if you said something, you're going to piss both of us off.
Yep.
I mean, we got that right to talk trash to each other. In my mind, I respect everybody that served in any branch of service. It don't matter if it's Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, National Guard. But we all brag and boast about our own service. We're going to. But that's just us bragging and boasting. I mean, if you serve, congratulations, good job, you got my respect. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say the Marine Corps is the best, but they are, but I'm not going to say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the Navy takes us everywhere we go. We couldn't get to where we're going without the Navy.
Dave, what would you like to say about differentiates the Navy from the other branches?
The Navy's your main support branch. Like Tim was saying, you got to go somewhere, we're there. You got to evacuate people, we're there. You got to have recon. Navy SEALs are the best recon unit there is. We have the best aircrafts there are. We have the best pilots. We are there to support all the other branches in their mission.
Got it. Okay, next military question is, why don't you, just like with comedy, I'm sure you've had your good days, your bad days, so what would you like to share, Tim, about some of your favorite and least favorite times in the service?
Good Lord. Favorite time in the service? Well, David will understand this because he was in the Navy. We have like a ball, like the Marine Corps ball every year. It's on the Marine Corps birthday. And sometimes we get drunk and do flight quals where you slide across the floor. Those are fun. I mean, you got a brotherhood in the military. That's the best times when you're not getting chewed out. You're not getting yelled at. I got meritoriously promoted to sergeant. I mean, I think that was the proudest moment I had when I was in the service, was when I got meritoriously promoted, because that's a big deal to get promoted beforehand. The worst time is when I got yelled at for somebody else being late that was under me, and I was like, man, it ain't my fault he's late, but yeah, it was. So I got yelled at for him, and then I had to turn around and yell at him. It rolls downhill.
Right. Dave, what about you? What would you say are some of your favorite and least favorite times?
In the Navy, I was definitely more of an oddball. Like, my favorite thing was to just be out to sea and just stare at the ocean. I mean, nothing shows you how small you are on this planet than being in the middle of a blue sea, blue sky, and nothing else around. It was a lot of fun. Another good time was I was on a team during a hurricane to go get any debris and cut it off away from the ship. I mean, I won't say that I didn't pee myself during the time, because we were listing 45 degrees, but it was a great experience, something you never get to do anywhere else. And then with my first ship during 2016 deployment, we got to evacuate 815 American citizens out of Lebanon while Israel was actively bombing them. And to be able to help that many people out, it just felt amazing. But then on the bad side of that, my worst memory is also still that same situation. I mean, watching kids and moms and everything hurt, scared for their lives, come in to be happy to sleep on a Navy ship, eating Navy food, which is not good. That was kind of hard to look at.
Got it. Okay. Before we move to the next segment,
Joel told me to do that.
Oh. Hey, Joel. Before we go to the next segment, Tim, is there anything else you wanted to add about your time in the military that we didn't talk about?
Well, I mean, yeah, I like how David said that. I mean, I was stationed on a ship, and he is right. When you out there in the middle of the ocean and all you see is water, it's like a piece that just falls over you. You're like, man, I am just a small little speck. Like I ain't, damn. I mean, it does. It opens your eyes up. And when you do a humanitarian thing like he was talking about, it does make you, it does break your heart. It truly does.
David, anything else you want to say before we go to the next segment?
No, I think Tim said it. That was great.
Okay. So this is the part I'm sure a lot of people are excited about. We're about to get to that. More than just a conversation, it's a debate. So these two gentlemen are going to be debating political matters. Like I said, I'm friends with them on Facebook, and they're always very polite to each other. So that's why I wanted to bring them on here, because I know that they're going to come here and treat each other with respect and come here with some good information, as opposed to the typical rudeness back and forth that we keep seeing over and over again.
True.
Very rarely do I share my opinion on here, but I am grateful that we have good people and that we can have this forum to do this, to talk about this, because it's very much needed right now.
Let me say something.
Sure.
To go off of what Chris just said, David and I have completely different views as far as politics. We totally do. But what I want to ask everybody, just because somebody disagrees with you, don't disrespect them. I still call David. He and I talk on the phone for hours on sometimes. We just talk about things. You don't have to disrespect somebody just because they disagree with you. They have a different opinion. That don't mean you're right and they're wrong. It just means they have a different opinion. Be grown up about it. Please.
Thank you, Tim. So, first question is, what party, if any, would you say that you identify with, and why did you pick that specific political party?
Well, with the things that each party stands for, if you had to break it down, what the Democrat Party stands for, what the Republican Party stands for, I believe more of the things that Republican Party stands for than I do the Democratic Party. But I do agree with some things that the Democratic Party stands for that Republican Party don't. But if we had to go which one I'm with, I'd say it's 70% Republican, 30% Democrat.
Okay. Anything specific about the Republican Party that you like more, that you'd rather align with them?
I like my amendments.
Okay.
I mean, I truly do.
Okay. David, same question. Is there a specific party that you identify with, and why did you choose that party?
Not really. A lot of people. I tend to go with left-leaning libertarian, but here lately I've been more of a Democrat, just because of the way politics have lined up, and that's the only real reason. Under Obama, I was considered a Republican, and under Trump, I was considered a Democrat.
Got it. Okay. Next question, and this is always a hot topic. I've talked to many elected officials about this, and once also, running for office, is about healthcare. We have a huge debate about that. We've had everything from Medicare to all to, we should just privatize it, to hybrid plans and what we should do in the United States. So, Tim, how should we have healthcare? What should the United States do?
I think we should have health care for everybody. Because some people can't afford it. I mean, health insurance has gotten so high. If you can afford health insurance, you can't afford rent or mortgage, so you're going to be living out of your car anyway. But at least you got health insurance. But if you want to live in a house, you ain't going to have health insurance. So you can't have both. I think we can have health insurance, but it's got to come down to how the government's going to use our tax dollars to help us as Americans instead of sending it out overseas. We got to take care of our own backyard first. That's what I think. I think if other countries can do it, we can do it too. We just got to take care of ourselves first. And I hate to sound that way. I don't mean to sound selfish or anything, but we got to take care of our own people. We have homeless veterans in this country right now, and that's a shame. Well, it's a shame anybody's homeless in this country, but we shouldn't have that. Not here.
Okay. Dave, what would you like to do? What do you think works best? Would work best?
My biggest issue with healthcare is how profitable it is. In 2019, health insurance companies made $140.2 billion profit. If we make it so, like some single healthcare or single payer option healthcare that they have in, say, Europe or anything, where it's illegal for a health insurance company to then make a profit and make it more of like a non-profit, that's possibly up to $140 or $140 billion we could have back in our market helping out people. Like Tim said, we have veterans that, either on VA or can't even get to the VA sometimes because of transportation. Now, this shouldn't be a thing. We shouldn't have to rely on veteran insurance and go to specialized hospitals. We should be able to go anywhere we can because that's where we can make it to.
Exactly.
One of my biggest issues with the whole, America being great, we can't say we're great if we have our veterans and children starving and not have health care.
Exactly.
How great is the country if that's what's happening?
Okay. Is Tim, anything you wanted to add to that?
I agree with that 100%.
Okay.
I couldn't have said it any better myself.
Okay. So do you think you'd rather go with more of a single payer system, or do you still want to have options in the market, or do you like a hybrid idea?
I think you got to figure out what's going to be best for everybody. You can't figure out what's going to be best for this percentage of people. It's what's going to be best for the whole country.
Okay.
And whichever plan is best for the whole country, run with it. That's what I think what to do. Because like David said, forget the homeless vets for a second. You got homeless children And that's a shame when we got children in this country that have nowhere to sleep tonight. And 35 degrees outside? That's a shame.
And that's right here in Rock Hill. Obviously, we go more north. It's going to be totally different and a lot colder.
Yeah.
So here's another.
Real quick, I just wanted to go with that. So I do believe, if we were to implement anything in the United States, a hybrid model would be something we would need. Simply because our economy is too large to have any single one of the payment plans or healthcare options that I've been able to read about. You would need something that can cover with, higher income families being able to go to independent health insurance, while lower income families have things that are able to be paid for them. It would help out both sides while kind of not overly changing what we already have in place.
So do you prefer the Affordable Care Act, or do you think that should be worked on?
So I will say yes to both of those.
Okay.
It was not perfect. It was a good idea. It's already implemented. So to nullify it completely just to put something else in place is going to take longer, and it's going to hurt more people. Mm-hmm. To work on it as is and make it better as is would be the better option.
Got it. Next question, as we all know, is also a huge hot topic, and guns. Let's just get to it. There are certain guns that people feel should be banned. Say an AR-15. That nobody should have access to that because you don't need it. Why should a citizen be able to have that type of gun? And then you'll have someone else to say, well, it's my right to have any type of gun I want. I'm a law-abiding citizen. It's really no one else's business what I need. It's not about the gun. It's the individual. So, Dave, we're going to start with you on that one. When it comes to the Second Amendment and guns and banning of certain guns, do you believe any type of gun should be banned?
The only guns I believe should be banned would be like fully auto, and then I could see a reason for bump stocks as well. If you should be able to maybe go somewhere, shoot those, maybe get a certain certification that allows you to buy them so that you say you're that level of professional to have them. However, you should not be able to just get those willy-nilly is my only big thing. The other change I think that we should have to our gun safety is that if you're a registered gun owner and you have a child in the house that's of the age 5 or older, you and the child should be forced to take a gun safety class where it goes over maintenance, shooting, safety, everything with you and the child every 2 years. We had, growing up, if you had a jet ski, you had to go take a safety course every year to drive a jet ski. And, jet ski can be dangerous. A gun can be a lot more dangerous. However, you have the right to own all of these guns. It's in our Constitution. They can be dangerous, but it is a freedom that we should have.
Tim?
I agree with that. But I've always had a gun. Ever since I was little. But, I'm country. And I know some people listening to this might be going, really? But yeah, I am. There's always been guns around me. We got raised, this ain't a toy, leave it alone. When I got my concealed carry permit in South Carolina and Utah, my guns have never been locked up because I'm sorry, but if somebody breaks in the house, you can't say, wait a minute, let me go get my gun out of the safe. It don't work that way. My guns aren't locked up. They're out in the open. They've been out in the open since JT was a child, but he knew, leave this alone. This is daddy's. Don't touch it. Don't play with it. It ain't a toy. He knew that when he was little. He's always known that. But like David said, you got to teach your children, leave this alone. What's the one thing a child does if you tell a child, don't go in daddy's lockbox? What they gonna do?
They're going right in there.
They're going right in the lockbox. So telling them not to do it ain't helping the situation. Show them why they shouldn't do it. You know what I mean? But as far as AR-15s, I agree with David. It should not be fully automatic. And you shouldn't have a bump stock. I agree with that 100%. You don't need a fully automatic weapon. But having an AR-15, a civilian AR-15, as opposed to a military version of that rifle, the military version has safe, fire, and semi. The semi means when you squeeze the trigger one time, it shoots 3 rounds. The civilian version does not have that. It has safe and fire. You got to squeeze that trigger every time you want a bullet to come out. So they're a little bit different. And then people say, well, it's an assault rifle. There's no such thing as an assault rifle. AR does not stand for assault rifle. AR stands for the company that made it, Armorlight. That's what the A stands for. The R stands for rifle. It's not an assault rifle. My pistol is an assault pistol. This is an assault pen. You can do any kind of damage with that thing. Guns don't kill people, just like forks don't make people fat. It don't work that way. I put my gun in my foyer one day and said, shoot anybody that comes in the door. 5 people came to my house and visited. That gun didn't shoot nobody. Guns don't kill people. It's people that kill people. And if you take people's guns away, they ain't gonna do nothing but find another means to do exactly what they want to do. Okay. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Do you like David's idea about every 2 years or so-and-so having to take classes?
That ain't a bad idea, because it makes sure that you are up to date with, like David said, the safety of the weapon, firing the weapon, cleaning the weapon, and it makes sure your child is up to date and your child's handling it in front of an instructor. That's not a bad idea. It really ain't. But don't start trying to take away people's rights.
Okay. So our next question that we're going to talk about is, what is a peaceful protest and what is a riot? Because we've seen since spring, summer, and now, once again, a huge debate about, what's right, what's wrong, what should people be able to do, who's condemning what. So, Tim, what is a peaceful protest and what's a riot?
Look up the Million Man March with Martin Luther King. That was a peaceful protest. Nobody got harmed. That was peaceful. A riot, somebody's getting harmed. Cities are getting burned. Things are getting broken into. Cars are getting trashed. That's a riot. It don't matter how big it is or how small it is, it's still a riot. A peaceful protest is exactly that. It's peaceful. Nobody gets hurt. If it turns into arson, burglary, vandalism, that becomes a riot.
So would you say that you condemn both what happened to stores and the Capitol?
Yes.
Okay. And neither one is more okay than the other?
No.
Okay.
No. You ain't walking into the United States Capitol. If I read it correctly, and I'm pretty sure David will help me if I read it wrong, the U.S. Capitol building is a public building, but it's also a private building. It's both. Okay. It is open to the U.S. public. You can go into the U.S. Capitol building, but when police officers tell you you cannot come in here, you can't go in there. But there's also videos that show that the police actually moved barricades and let people through too. So how can you tell somebody you can't come in and then open the door and let them in? It don't make any sense. None of it makes any sense.
Dave, what is your definition of a peaceful protest and a riot?
Like Tim said, a peaceful protest is peaceful. The biggest thing for me with a peaceful protest is that you have no show of aggression. Meaning you don't have body armor, you don't have weapons. You're there to willingly take whatever abuse ends up coming your way because people are against your being peaceful. Whereas a riot is typically what happens when you don't listen to those protests, when people feel their rights are getting encroached upon and then they are also not being listened to. Things get in an uproar. One of your biggest issues is just the government wants to appease people right now versus working on issues consistently. And then with what happened here recently at the Capitol, things happening on that day may not have caused an uproar, but leading up to that, when you're saying, your election was fraudulent without proof, when you go through the legal routes and then those fall short, and you keep saying it's fraudulent, you're making people feel like their rights are being encroached upon, that their whole election for the democracy of their country that they love is now being messed with. Those people have every right to want to riot at that point. It's wrong to do so. But that's what's going to happen. When your rights are being pushed and no one can listen to you because there's nothing on your side, you're going to blow up.
Okay. Would you agree with Tim that it's wrong to storm the Capitol building just as much as it's wrong to burn down, say, a business?
I would say they're both wrong, but they're not on the same level.
Okay.
One is destroying someone's business, and it's wrong. The other one is encroaching upon democracy. And that is affecting the entire nation at that point. So it's a lot bigger of an issue.
Okay. Tim, would you agree with that, or do you feel differently?
I mean, I see what David's saying. I truly do. But when you take over 6 city blocks in Seattle, that kind of affected the democracy, did it not?
Of that small location.
But it did affect the democracy.
Yes.
Okay. When you burn down cities and you burn down businesses, you affected the democracy of that area.
Yes.
So they still affect the democracy. I understand what you're saying. I truly do, because you went into the United States Capitol. So that affected everybody. But what social media, and that's half the problem with everything going on is social media. They didn't show you the protesters leaving, picking up trash before they left. They cleaned up the Capitol building before they left.
Right.
I mean, that's a violent protest when you pick up trash before you leave. You know what I mean? That'd be like me and you getting in a fight, but then we clean everything up before we leave. It's like, how violent was it,
Yeah.
So, social media will throw things out of proportion, but violence should be the last choice. That's the last option. The very last option is violence.
Before we go to the next question, is there anything you wanted to conclude with that, add to that?
No, I agree with that.
Okay. So our next question is, we're going to talk about, I guess, his last day in office. As far as we know, today is his last day in office. Donald Trump. So I know this is a very general question, but we could break it down to details. But David, you're going to start with this question. What do you think about Donald Trump's presidency and how he was our president?
I mean, just to start out, honestly, I've never liked Donald Trump since I was a teenager, well before his presidency. He had an uphill battle with me from the beginning, and I won't lie about that. But he also met my expectations almost at every turn. I'm not going to say everything he did was bad, but when you make a statement and then the next week it turns out that statement is false and someone tries to ask you about it and you say it's fake news or you berate the reporters and things like that, that is not presidential. When COVID came out and he wasn't overly honest with people about how bad it would be, wasn't teaming up with these scientists, even his own people that are trying to give him information, to say one direct line, even if all of them said, hey, don't wear a mask, cool. But when everybody's saying something different, that causes a lot of issues with the country. A senator doing that, it's kind of bad, but not at the same level. Again, the president is there to be the responsible party. He's not responsible for everything, but that's the whole point of his position.
Okay. And to let's just say if we were to break it down to 3 specific things about as far as he did with the economy, foreign relations, and race relations. A lot of his supporters feel he did phenomenal in those 3 categories. How do you feel about that?
So my big argument with the economy isn't that he did bad. It's that a lot of people were trying to take credit for something that he didn't do. Our economy was already soaring by the time he came into office. It was doing great. Unemployment was already at an all-time low. He then maintained that. Should that be respected? Yeah. He did not crash the system. But he also did not get it there. He did good work when it came to it, but he was not the sole reason for it.
Okay. Tim, how did you feel about Donald Trump's presidency?
I mean, no president's going to do a perfect job. None of them. There were some things, I agree with David, when the president of the United States gets on the news and berates somebody in the House or berates a senator or a congressperson, it does look bad. But at that same time, that congressperson shouldn't be berating the president of the United States either. I mean, it's got to go both ways. You can't do it your way here and then expect this person not to retaliate. It don't work that way. Nancy Pelosi berated Trump from the start, but then when he does it, he's wrong, but she's not. You can't have it that way. It don't work that way. There were some things that Trump did that I didn't agree with, but there were some things he did that I did agree with. And there were some things Barack Obama did that I agreed with, and some things he did that I didn't agree with. Every president's like that. You're not going to please all the people all the time. With that being said, I think he did a good job. That's just what I think. I think Barack Obama did a good job too for what he did while he was in office. But what you also got to look at, the president don't have all the power. It's the Congress and the Senate that has the power. They're the ones that make the laws. The president either vetoes it or approves it. The president can't make a law without their approval. They're the ones that fought for the laws, not the president. He just approved it.
Okay. What are your thoughts on when it came to the economy, race relations, and foreign relations under Trump? Good job.
I agree with what David said. The economy was already going down when Trump stepped in, but it did get a little bit lower, and he did maintain it, like David said, which is a good job because that's hard to do. Unemployment was at the lowest that it's ever been for a lot of different people in the country. It was lowest for African American women, Spanish Americans. It was at its lowest that it's ever been. So I think he did good there. It is what it is. But when you got 70% of Congress fighting you and 100% of the media fighting you, you got to give credit where credit's due. Nobody would sit in that office for 4 years like Trump did and be berated like he did and drugged through the coals like he was and not try to fight for yourself. You got everybody fighting against you, but he still did a pretty good job.
Okay. Dave, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah. Like I said, he didn't do the worst job, but two wrongs don't make a right. Being presidential means you have to be presidential. Pelosi, I'm not a big fan of hers, and when she berated Trump, she was in the wrong. But again, she's not at the same level as Trump. So when he came back at her, he basically came back and it just made it even worse because he was the one that was supposed to be presidential. And that's where the big issue came in for me.
I agree with that. But when the American people see the Speaker of the House, which is third in command, berate the president, she shouldn't have done that.
I agree.
Because, even though there ain't but one president, so there can't be but one person that's acting presidential,
mm-hmm.
You don't do that to the American people. If you want to go in Trump's office and badmouth him, go ahead. But don't do it in public for the American people to see it. It's just like parents. You don't argue in front of your child. You argue when your child goes to bed. You step outside and argue so your child don't see it. That way the child always thinks mama and daddy's on the same wavelength. I can't put one against the other. They act, all of them up there acting like children, if you ask me. Every one of them, they acting like spoiled little kids.
Okay. Which is going to take us to our next question. We're going to talk about Joe Biden now. As far as we know, he's getting sworn in tomorrow. He's going to be the 46th president of the United States of America. We got a lot of people that are very excited about him coming back to be into the executive branch just because they felt he did a good job with Barack Obama and that he's going to improve on the Affordable Care Act and just an overall much better presidential person. Then you got the flip side of things that he first took office in, I believe, 1973, and he's had all this time to make this country better, and he hasn't. And that, him and I guess the people supporting him, or whomever, rigged the election. That's still a very hot topic. So, Tim, how would you like to start that off?
I don't think Joe Biden, he hasn't done anything in the 47 years he's been up there. Nothing. He didn't even do anything while he was 8 years at vice president. He didn't do nothing. If I hire a carpenter to build my house and they don't do nothing for 8 months, that carpenter ain't going to keep working. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. You ain't going to do your job, move. Let somebody else in to do it. Everybody said Trump's racist because he wanted to build a wall. But I've asked people to show me when Trump has made racial comments, and nobody's ever showed me any. Now, I understand Joe Biden got a stuttering problem, but stuttering don't mean you don't know what you're saying. When you say, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black, I'm sorry, that's racist. If you say, I don't want my children to go to school with black children because it'll be a jungle, that's racist. If you tell somebody, we're going to put chains back on you, that's racist. I mean, Trump didn't say that. Joe Biden did. Not Trump. But, I don't know. Stumbling Joe, good Lord Almighty. It's like Robin Williams said, people with Tourette's are like, no. He just, I don't like Joe Biden. I think Kamala Harris would have had a better shot than Joe Biden. I think she should have been the Democratic choice, not Joe Biden. But that's just my choice. That's just my opinion.
Got it. Dave, how would you like to start that off with? Was Joe Biden the right guy? Is he? Do you think he's a good man? Is he going to be presidential like his supporters wanted to be? Do you think this election was rigged and it really was just, they say, a landslide in Trump's favor?
I don't believe it was rigged. If it was rigged, then all the people who are on the Republican side that also won on this election and got to keep their seats or anything else, it was rigged for them as well then. Like, it makes no sense when you really think about it. Are there fraudulent things that happen? Yes, but to the amount in which Trump lost, no. Do we need more investigations into it? Yeah. But that doesn't mean that, 7 million votes were miscounted. Overall, the reason that I like Biden is because he's a goofy guy that loves his wife. He's not afraid to look goofy in public, and he's okay with that. Toxic masculinity is a big issue in this country, and Biden doesn't really care about it. Has he made racial statements, racist statements? Yes. Is he a perfect person? No. Has he made a lot of changes in his career? No. The main reason I voted for him is because I believe he will be a much better political candidate who will be able to reach across the aisle than Trump would have been. He is a conservative liberal. And right now, I believe that's the only way that we can help close the gap in this country between all of our citizens. I was originally a Bernie fan, but if Bernie would have been president, he would have caused that gap to increase. We need somebody that's more middle of the roads right now to help everyone tie together.
Got it. Tim, did you want to respond to that or add something?
Yeah, because I am so glad David said, did he make racial comments, and then said yes. But nobody jumped on Facebook. No news station jumped up. Fox, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN. None of them jumped up and said Biden is racist. Why? That's the question that needs to be asked. Why?
There's a simple answer to that, and that's because it's a Democratic-led news agency. News agencies should not be politically affiliated at all.
Thank you. I'm glad he said that.
Yeah, conservative ones covered up about the Trump and being sexist and things, whereas the liberal ones are covering up racial comments that Biden has made. We work. It's the same thing on both sides, and it's not right.
Exactly. That's it. He hit the nail on the head on that one.
Got it. Okay. Well, this is going to bring us to our next question: freedom of speech and how some people feel like it's being taken away. Different types, whether it be on Twitter or with Parler or Facebook, and that there's a big argument now when it comes to what is freedom of speech, where can you say what you want to say, and, should you be banned? So, David, why don't you let us know, what is freedom of speech, and, when can you, I guess you could say, ban what someone's saying? When does that make it right?
In its basic form, the right to freedom of speech means you're allowed to say whatever you want in person without penalty of law or force or anything like that. However, we like to think of social media as the same thing as being on a sidewalk talking to people or yelling at cars passing by. And it kind of used to be that case. However, when President Trump signed Executive Order Section 230, it actually made it to where social media companies were liable for the posts that were made on their platforms. So at that point, these companies have to either try to protect themselves from being sued or anything else like that due to this executive order, or they manage these accounts, keep themselves safe, and delete accounts as they see fit. If we had it still to where each individual poster was held liable for what they said, it would be a lot different, and I would say, that would be an area of freedom of speech. But with the companies themselves being held liable, they have a right to protect themselves. Just like you can't go to work and say whatever you want. You can't cuss at a customer. I've been in customer service and I've wanted to, but you can't do that because you lose your job. Companies have a right to protect themselves, and that's why they take that account down.
Got it. Tim?
I hope, what's the man, Mark Zuckerberg, ain't
That's
that
him.
him? I hope he catches wind of this. I would tell him my phone number, but shit, he already knows it. He knows yours too. I agree that these platforms like Facebook and Twitter, they're held liable for what's put on there. But when you allow one thing to be on there, and you don't allow another thing to be on there, and they're both the exact same, but you allow one and not the other, you're not being held liable for what's on there. You're letting what's, like that Kathy Griffin lady. She had Trump's head decapitated, holding it, and it all over Facebook. He ain't never take that down. I put Biden's head in place of Trump's head, put it on Facebook. I got put in jail for 48 hours. Now, why is one okay and one ain't? All I wanted to do was prove my point. Why was this one okay when it was Trump, but this one wasn't when it was Biden? I don't agree with either one of them being okay. I'm just wanting to know why was one okay and one not. Why is it okay for Madonna, a celebrity, to stand out in public at a rally and say, I have fantasized about blowing up the White House? Are you serious with me right now? You actually said that in public and nobody arrested you? Johnny Depp's in public at a rally and he says, when is the last time an actor has assassinated a president? Seriously? In public. You got people that look up to you because you're a celebrity. And you talking about assassinating the president of the United States? You wishing he was dead? I don't care who the president is. I don't care if it's Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton's husband, Joe Biden. It don't matter. You don't ever wish the president to die. Period. But yet, Facebook, the news medias, which what David already confirmed, are Democratic controlled, so they're going to let Democratic things be out there. You don't let people like that disgrace the president of the United States. I'm sorry, but you don't. I don't care if you like the president or not. You publicly don't say, I have fantasized about blowing up the White House. At that point, somebody should have put handcuffs on her. Period. That's wrong. But you have freedom of speech. You have freedom to talk shit about Trump, but you don't have freedom to talk shit about Biden. That's freedom of speech in this country now. As long as you say what they want you to say, you're allowed to say it. But if you don't say what they want you to say, you ain't allowed to say it. That's the way freedom of speech is turning into.
So when it comes to private companies, that's another thing that recently got brought up again, that a private company should be able to do what they want. That it's not a governmental agency. So, and of course, people also mentioned about Colin Kaepernick, NFL players taking a knee, and then there was the story about the Christian baker who, I believe it wasn't that he wouldn't sell the gay couple or future married couple a cake, that he wouldn't design it for them. So what would you both of you guys say is, should it be across the board? My company, I could ban who I want from my platform, and I could serve whomever I want.
So while I am open for everybody's equal rights, if your company, you're the baker, and you want to be homophobic, that's your right. I mean, that is the right of being in this country. I don't agree with it, but our power as the customers are to get people to not go there. That's how you do that, through a peaceful protest. You don't berate them and everything else. Again, it's wrong, but you're not showing how much better you can be by being violent with these people. With Colin Kaepernick, he was actually doing something to honor those who've fallen. In the military, there's the whole thing of taking the knee, and he wasn't sitting down during the anthem. He wasn't trying to be disrespectful. He took a knee to show respect for people who he thought, should be honored, who had fell in, even though they didn't deserve that. So for us to go, you're being disrespectful, and the media putting everything on like they did, that was my big issue there. However, with the NFL being a private company, they have a right to tell them to stand up. But it gets a little cloudy there due to how much financial assistance the NFL gets from the United States, making them more of a, sponsored thing, almost government-like. So it makes it a little more difficult to try and control their rights to freedom of speech.
Okay.
I thought Colin Kaepernick was kneeling because of police injustice.
It was for the people who died due to police injustice.
Okay, so it wasn't for the military.
No.
Because I ain't never heard of a cop killing a veteran at war in Afghanistan.
No. It was just people who he thought died for a reason that shouldn't have happened.
Okay.
Well, Tim, to close it out, when it comes to private businesses, should they be able to, make their decision, whether you agree with it or not, who they want to ban from, who they want to serve and have on their platform?
Well, yeah, they got that right. I'm not saying it's right. If I owned a bakery and a gay couple came in my bakery and I was real strongly against gay people being married or whatever, if they want a cake, I'm going to make them a cake because it's money. Anybody that says I'm not going to cater to you because you're gay, or I'm not going to cater to you because you're straight, or you just stupid because you losing money. I thought you opened your business to make money. That's stupid to refuse somebody's service because they ain't going to do nothing but tell their friends, don't go there. You losing a lot of money doing that, and that's wrong. It's just stupid on my opinion. As far as the Colin Kaepernick thing, I kind of agree with David on that. David and I both served. We didn't serve for you to have the rights you have. You already had them. We just served to preserve them. Colin Kaepernick's got that right to take that knee if he wants to. And I told a friend of mine, because I was playing devil's advocate one day, and I told a friend of mine, I said, well, you saying that's disrespectful to veterans. But he did kneel. He didn't talk. He didn't move his head around. He just knelt still. Didn't move. How many people are at football games and baseball games and they say, please stand and remove your hat, and you don't take your hat off? To me, as a veteran, you not taking your hat off is just disrespectful as him kneeling down. When you texting on your phone during the national anthem, that's just as disrespectful. When you talking to the person beside you during the national anthem, that is just as disrespectful. So for you to sit there during the national anthem with a hat on your head and say that Colin Kaepernick is disrespecting veterans for taking a knee, well, you are too. I think, don't it say, please rise and remove your hat?
Yep.
I mean, it tells you to remove your hat. But you didn't do that. So how you? What gives you the right to bitch at him when you're doing the exact same thing? I mean, there's different forms of disrespect to veterans, and we all don't. None of us like when y'all do that. Take your hat off. Be quiet. Quit texting. Be still. Song out. It don't last that long, does it? It don't last long.
No. And like one comment on that, I took my niece to see one of my sisters graduate, and they did the national anthem beforehand. And my niece decided to sit it out, and she was playing on her phone. And I had to take a second. I knelt down. I was like, if you want to sit this out, cool. But you're going to do this without that phone in your hand, and you're going to be quiet. You're going to be respectful. Like, you don't have to stand. I'm not going to make you. I'd really prefer it. But I believe we should all honor the country we live in, even if it has issues. We're all here, and we all have a lot of rights that, for us that have been in third world countries and everything else, we got it nice here. We have issues, but we definitely got it nice, and we should honor that.
Well, that's. I only have one question left, and David, if you want to start it off, and we'll have Tim finish. Is there anything that you want to share that we didn't talk about tonight that you'd like our viewers to know?
I mean, kind of like how Tim started things out. We need to be more open-minded. There's so much separation in our country right now, and I've been guilty of it too. Trying to do comparisons. Well, this person did this. Well, this person did this. It just makes people want to be more defensive, and we need to figure out how to make statements without making accusations and offending each other, as well as stop getting as offended, because sometimes people just get offended at things, and that's also not okay. We have to be understanding of each other. Tim and I were friends, but we have very different views.
Mm-hmm.
We should all be able to do that. There's no reason to stop talking to someone because they view things differently than you.
Okay. Tim, how would you like to close things out?
I mean, I agree with David 100%. Now, I do think, and I'm going to throw this out there just because it's to relieve the tension, people need to learn the difference between your, and your. Seriously. And two, and two. Please learn the difference in those, because when you're trying to insult somebody and you use the wrong pronunciation, it makes you look like a complete idiot. It truly does. But with that being said, you don't have to insult somebody that disagrees with you. They have their opinion. If everybody had the same opinion you have, everybody would be boring.
Facts.
You got to have different opinions. You got different taste in things. That don't mean that you have to insult somebody. Because what's going to happen, especially with a lot of these the younger people, you're going to insult the wrong person one day and you're going to wake up with your butt on the floor and wondering why you're there. Be careful who you insult. Don't insult nobody. You don't have to. Just be nice. Me and David don't agree, but we still talk on the phone. He still ain't brought me the picture. He said I could buy from him, but And if you want a picture from David, he does real good paintings. Look him up on Facebook. Buy one of his paintings. They're cool. They really are. But don't buy the painting I'm buying. Don't buy my painting. Because that one's mine.
Thank you.
Great. Well, Tim, David, thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Yeah, thank you, man.
I hope our viewers, found this educational, entertaining, and informative. And that's pretty much what we try to do here. If you want to learn more about, the political show I have, it's rockhillvideo.com. I've interviewed a good bit of elected officials or those running both locally and on the national level. Back during the 2020 election, I did talk to a lot of third-party candidates. And like I said, everyone's welcome on the show. Like I said, it is a political show, but we could talk about some other things too. That's all I got for tonight. Now a word from our sponsors.